All right, let's dive into this saga between Bill Maher and Caitlyn Collins, with CNN caught in the crossfire. Picture this: a conservative in America flipping on CNN, hoping for some straight down the middle reporting. That's the promise, right? Fair, balanced, no nonsense. But 15 minutes in, it's clear that's not what's on the menu. Instead, it's a steady diet of smug commentary, predictable jabs, and what Maher himself called out as tokenism. It's not just a slip-up here or there. It's a full-on performance that's starting to look a lot like The View, just with better lighting and a fancier news ticker. And Maher, he's not letting it slide. He's been trading blows with Collins for weeks, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Caitlyn Collins isn't just a journalist doing her job. To a lot of folks, and I'm including myself here as a conservative watching this unfold, she comes off as a self-righteous attack dog with one mission: get Trump out of the White House. It's not about reporting the facts or digging into the nuances. It's a crusade. She won't stop, she won't rest, she won't even blink until that goal's in sight. And if that means twisting the truth, playing dumb, or cloaking herself as the ultimate moral authority, so be it. Think that's an overstatement? Let's rewind to an old clip that lays it all bare. Maher tossed Collins what should have been a softball question. If she had the chance to interview then Vice President Kamala Harris, what's the most pressing thing she'd ask? Simple, right? A chance to probe Harris's record, her policy shifts, her time governing alongside a moderate like Biden. But Collins couldn't help herself. In a heartbeat, she pivoted to Donald Trump. She mused about Harris's evolution on issues. Sure, but then came the detour. Trump's reversed his positions too, you know? It's like she had a homing beacon locked on him. The man could be halfway across the planet, sipping a Diet Coke in peace, and Collins would still find a way to drag his name into the mix. Why? Because Trump's her trump card, her go-to move. To fire up the audience and keep the anti-Trump engine humming. Maher saw it coming a mile away. He knows the game. Collins was itching for any excuse to turn the chat into another anti-Trump tirade, but this time, Maher wasn't having it. He flipped the script, caught her off guard, and derailed her routine before it could gain steam. And Collins? She didn't take it well. You could almost feel the tension crackling through the screen. Fast forward to another moment, this time about the ABC debate. Maher asked if it was even going to happen, and Collins jumped in with her take. Trump might pull out. She'd talked to sources in his world, she said, and he was struggling with how to face Harris. It wasn't just a Democratic talking point, she insisted. Trump really didn't want to do it. But then she hedged. Pulling out would look weak, especially after his campaign had printed those anywhere, anytime, any place cards for Biden. Still, she painted him as nervous, floundering, already on the ropes. So much for neutrality. CNN loves to tout itself as fair and balanced. No lean left, no lean right, just the facts. But Collins' words told a different story. She wasn't analyzing. She was predicting, practically wishing, Trump's downfall. Either he'd bail on the debate, or he'd crash and burn if he showed up. No evidence, no real strategy breakdown, just vibes. She didn't even entertain the idea that he might hold his own. In her mind, the race was already over, and Trump was toast. Reality, of course, had other ideas, and Maher was there, watching her spin unravel, ready to pounce. Because here's the thing. The debate wasn't some impossible hurdle. For Trump, it was a golden opportunity. All he had to do was walk out there and lay out the numbers. Gas prices up 50% under Biden-Harris, electricity up 30%, groceries up 22%. Taxes and regulations, lower under Trump, higher under them. Immigration, border security was tighter under him. Now it's a free-for-all. The stats don't lie. It's a side-by-side comparison that practically makes the case itself. So why would Trump back out? What was Collins even on about? It's like she couldn't wrap her head around him stepping onto that stage and owning it. Instead, she spun this fantasy where Trump would either run scared or implode. And if that didn't pan out, she had to fall back. He'd lose anyway because he'd go off script. No data to back it up, no reasoning, just anti-Trump gospel. It wasn't journalism, it was preemptive damage control. She saw the writing on the wall and was scrambling to soften the blow before it landed. Maher, meanwhile, was eating it up, biding his time for the perfect takedown. Because Trump doesn't need a script, that's the part Collins and her CNN crew can't stomach. His whole deal is authenticity. Unpolished, off the cuff, no filter. It's why his base sticks with him and why the media elite can't stand him. He doesn't play their game. He doesn't need a teleprompter to connect. So when Collins smugly wrote him off before the debate even happened, she wasn't just underestimating him, she was laying her bias out for all to see. And Maher was ready to call it out. Take this exchange from another clip. Maher brought up how Collins had been on Stephen Colbert's show, where Colbert claimed CNN just reports the news straight, and the crowd burst out laughing. Maher grinned. That tells you a lot, doesn't it? He pressed her. CNN's supposed to be the place both sides can watch in a divided country. How's that going? Collins doubled down. Her show's proof of balance, she said. They have lawmakers from both parties. Elizabeth Warren one night, Ted Cruz the next. Fair, right? Not even close. Nobody's buying that line, and neither was Maher. Those guest spots are a sham, a sprinkle of conservatives here and there to dodge the bias label, but peel back the curtain and it's a 4-to-1 ratio of Democrats to Republicans on any given panel. That's not balance, that's a stacked deck. And even when they do bring in a conservative, it's rarely someone who actually speaks for the movement. More often, it's a never-Trumper or an establishment type who's half aligned with the left anyway. It's a calculated move. Control the narrative, keep the opposition tame, and still claim impartiality. Viewers aren't dumb. They see through it. And that's why CNN's ratings are tanking. Maher didn't stop there. He pointed out the optics. It's tokenism, plain and simple. Like The View, where the lone conservative gets shouted down by a chorus of liberals, CNN's debates are theater. The token Republicans there for show, outnumbered and sidelined the second they open their mouth. Maher even said it'd be better to have no one there, like MSNBC, which at least owns its lean, than to fake balance with a rigged setup. It's a brutal comparison. CNN, once the king of cable news, now reduced to a glitzy version of a daytime gabfest. Ouch, Collins tried to push back. She bragged about CNN's coverage of the Republican convention in Chicago. 300 people on the ground, reporters everywhere, real-time updates. A level of news you don't get anywhere else, she claimed. But let's be real. That wasn't about fairness. It was a stakeout. CNN didn't flood the place to cover policy or platform details. They were hunting for a slip-up. A misspoken word? Instant headline. A protester in the crowd? Breaking news. Anything to spin against Trump and the GOP? Compare that to their kid gloves treatment of Democratic conventions. No gotchas, just praise. And the double standards glaring. Maher wasn't fooled, and neither are viewers. That's why he keeps hammering CNN's downfall. They've gone from setting the news agenda to chasing relevance with the same tired playbook. When even a guy like Maher, a liberal who's no Trump fan, calls out their nonsense, you know the jig is up. Collins' Trump obsession, CNN's fake neutrality, the whole crumbling facade, it's all on display. And Maher's takedown? It's the cherry on top of a network that's lost its way. So here we are, a conservative like me tuning into CNN, hoping for straight talk, and getting 15 minutes of spin before the mask slips. It's not just disappointing, it's predictable. Maher nailed it. The tokenism, the bias, the irrelevance. CNN's not the middle ground anymore. It's a punchline. And when Bill Maher's the one delivering the punch, you know they've hit rock bottom. Thanks for sticking with me through this. If you're nodding along, drop a like and subscribe for more. Catch you next time.